This week on the latest episode of The Big Show, it is our first show of 2026. Charles Kirkland Jr. and I made it. But this week we coming back, man, with a heated show because Charles got me riled up. We're going to talk about Marvel's campaign with Avengers Doomsday, which I think is not accurate. I'll just say that. I'll start with that. We'll talk a little bit about that as we get into the show. In addition, television, we've got big shows wrapping up and big shows debuting, so we will talk about some of those. And Dead Man's Wire is in theaters this week, and Charles Kirkland and I will have a review of that. We'll have all that and more on the latest episode of Keeping It Real with Film Gordon. Let's go. And welcome to the latest and first 2026 episode of Keeping It Real with Film Gordon. I am Tim Gordon. We are now stepping into year 17. This is the 17th year. The anniversary comes up later this year, but it's the 17th year of the big show. I am the John Harbaugh and the Mike Tomlin of podcast hosts. I am joined by assistant coach, defensive and offensive coordinator Charles Kirkland Jr. What's going on, man?
I fathom to say, and I'm going to say this with all seriousness, I think that this is the greatest show that we've had in 2026 right here. This is it.
Wow. Okay. Challenge accepted. Because there's still an opportunity for us to mess it up. We got 60 minutes, man. All right, man. So, like I said, man, Dead Man's Wire is coming up. It's coming to theaters this weekend. We will have a review of that much later in the show. In addition, we will also have, we'll discuss some of the high-profile shows that we're covering at thefilmgordon.com. There's a lot of stuff going on the site, man. And Charles Kirkland and I have been putting in work over the holidays to make sure that you guys are always informed, all right? But as we get to all of that later on, man, I want to start the year off with a subject near and dear to my heart, and that one that we have really championed on this show a lot, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We spent a lot of time talking about the cinematic universe when the cinematic universe, Charles, dare I say, was down, right? You know, we were watching movies like Ant-Man, Quantumania, Shang-Chi, The Ten Rings, The Eternals. We were watching some stuff, man, where we were like, I don't know if this is working, Charles. Don't know if this is working. So of course,
Well, so far, the only thing that seems that it might work is Shang-Chi. We'll see how that works as we get towards Doomsday and beyond.
well, that's interesting you would bring that up. So of course, it seems that, and we're not making this up and having fun. Marvel, man, phase 4 and phase 5 were not their shining moments, man. And what they've strategically done, and I think we talked a little bit about this, Charles, in one of the last shows that we did last year, was that they almost, for lack of a better term, with this Avengers Doomsday plan that they have, where they're going before Doomsday comes out in December of this year, will re-release Avengers Endgame in September, which Doomsday is supposed to tie directly into that film, which again, Charles, supports my original conversation that we're trying to make you forget. Like, this is like they got that Will Smith thing that he would hold up and flash it. And like, what phase 4 and 5?
The neuralizer.
Click them. What you talking about?
Put on the
So
shades. Put on the
so
shades.
I guess where I have an issue, and Charles was looking at me stunned and laughing. We were rewatching the 4 teasers that they put out so far, right? And of course, there's the teaser where, Thor is there, and, as Charles has said, his new adopted son. And at the end, as he's praying, for the strength to come back, they put on there, "Doom, Thor will return in Avengers Doomsday." And I'm like, woo, that's hot. They got another one where, we see Shuri and Black Panther or who's the new Black Panther, along with M'Baku, who now has rebranded himself as King M'Baku. Very funny. And he comes out in the middle of nowhere. And of course, Ben Grimm from the Fantastic Four and him sort of introduce each other. And they go, Shuri and M'Baku will return in Doomsday, Avengers Doomsday. Now, this is where it started for me, Charles, right? With that one. But the one that crystallized it for me was when I watched the teaser that featured Magneto and Xavier, Doctor X, and they
Professor.
said Professor X, and saying that they will return in the Avengers Doomsday, and I'm going return. They haven't debuted yet in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. How are you returning unless I guess unless there's years that Fox doesn't count with another neuralizer and that they were always in. How are you returning, Charles, if you never were in? That's like me, like somebody strange coming to your house and saying, "I'm gonna return to Charles's house," and you've never been in Charles's house.
I don't think that that's what the statement is. I mean, you may have read into the statement that they're returning to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm reading into it saying that they're returning to the movies. They're returning to film. We haven't seen, I mean, they've had films, so now they're returning back to the films. And that was when they made the announcement of all these X-Men coming back into the theaters, coming back into Marvel.
Mhm.
Uh, they've had movies, they've done very well with their movies, and so now they're coming back.
All right.
We've got Professor X coming back,
So
and
so so
Cyclops coming
coming
back.
back. So what you're telling me is when they say that they will return in Avengers Doomsday 2026. It's not that they're returning to this universe or they're returning to this film. They're saying that they're returning back to the screen. Is that how you read it?
That's how I read it. Yes,
Okay, I mean, when it says they will return in this movie, I mean, I guess you could play it both ways. So my outrage is somewhat muted by your calm kind of like Spock-like logic that you just displayed. Like, okay, cool. Now, as an aside, Charles, we're talking about it, Marvel, and I'm gonna pivot for a quick second. About a week ago. Um, I had an opportunity to watch Star Trek Starfleet Academy, right? Which is going to debut this week for audiences to finally watch it. So they sent out like the first 6 episodes, and our inside joke from listening to us talk. We've learned over time that if you send me multiple episodes, I'm just gonna watch the ones that I need to write recaps for now, and then push the rest of them down. So I'm not I call it the winning time phenomenon. You remember that, Charles, when they sent
yeah,
out winning time and they sent out 11 episodes and it was 12 episodes? And you did it with Ted Lasso, same thing, where it was 11 I mean, they sent you 11 episodes and it's 12 weeks. And the mistake used to be is that you'd watch everything like, oh my God, I got it early. Ah, and you watch it, and then you're sitting around for 2.5 months going, when's the new episode coming on? So now I've learned my lesson, man, right? I know we had recaps. It was the same thing. We're going to talk a little bit about Hijack a little later on in the show. How many episodes of Hijack have you watched?
Two,
How many episodes of Hijack do you have?
all of them.
Me too. I watched two. That's it. Starfleet Academy sent out 6 episodes. I watched two. uh, we have episodes of Cross, which you have too. I haven't watched any Cross. I haven't watched any Shrinking. And did you get Bridgerton today?
Yes, but guess what? I don't watch Bridgerton. I've never watched an episode, so I'm not
Oh
picking it up
well,
now.
Bridgerton. Let me tell you something. Bridgerton. I can't say really what I'm gonna do because I'm not sure if it's what we're supposed to do. But let's just say I'm not watching Bridgerton until there's a large group of people watching it with me because there's a lot of people that want to see Bridgerton, man. So I can't even watch Bridgerton right now. So in essence, I guess to say for you guys that we recap all these shows now on the filmgordon.com. So, a matter of fact, if you go to the site right now, there'll be reviews, or the first 2 episodes of Hijack are there, the first 2 episodes of Starfleet Academy, interviews that I did with Starfleet Academy, which include Holly Hunter, Paul Giamatti, um, the three instructors, Gina Yashir, who's an instructor, Robert Picardo, who's returning from Star Trek Voyager and is back on the show, and Tig Notari, Tig Notari,
No, 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 no Taro.
Notaro, excuse me, thank you, who was on Star Trek Discovery, right?
Right.
Now, Charles, I don't know. I think I've shared this with you because we've talked. Um, they were using a term inside of the early episodes of Starfleet Academy that I wasn't familiar with, right? I think it's called the burn. And I was like, what is the burn? And I
Oh,
called
yeah.
up,
Okay.
you know what I'm talking about, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
called
Mm-hmm.
up a couple of folks who are huge Star Trek fans, and they were like, you need to go back and watch Star Trek Discovery, the arc of Commander Michael Burnham, who, if you've watched the show, and I'm not spoiling it because it's over now, who goes from being this brilliant sister who actually takes over and becomes the captain of this Starfleet ship. It is so I've been binge watching it for like the last week, Charles. I'm like now I think I'm on season 4. It's only 5 episodes. So I'm on season 4, episode 10. Like I got like about maybe 15 episodes left, but it is an amazing story. And all the people, Charles, I haven't talked to you about this, but all of the folks who are huge Star Trek fans have told me, bar none, that it is probably the greatest arc of any Starfleet captain in any series. Like that's including the original series, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Strange New World, all of those. It is really, really good, Charles. Really good.
It was underrated, I think, as far as people watching the show. It did well with the ratings, but a lot of people just didn't latch on to it like I think they should have. And I'm one of the people who believe that Michael Burnham is one of the greatest captains that we've ever had. Not nonetheless, even though she's a sister, and people say, "Oh, you're gonna back the sister." No, I think she just does a really good job in this role. I love everything that Sonequa Martin Green did in that role. But I need you to do me one favor.
Yes.
I know this is probably the New Jersey in you, but I need you to start saying Star Trek instead of track. It just sounds different when you
It's not
say
Star Trek.
track.
It's Star Trek.
No, it's Trek. Trek.
He said the New Jersey in you. Not Star Trek, baby.
It's not Star Trek. No,
Star
no, no.
Trek. Star Trek.
Trek.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Respect.
Okay.
Watch this. Look. Doing this whole campaign is funny because a good friend of ours, is a huge Star Trek fan, right? And, this is the 60th anniversary of Star Trek. So I created a series on our site called Star Trek 60. And I started doing pieces about it. I did one that was published yesterday or early this week about the captains, not necessarily ranking them, but like spotlighting all the captains, right? And then I wrote another story
Right.
about what the essence of 6 decades of this show and what it represents. And I got a call immediately. Like I was like, hey, what's up? And folks was like, hey, first of all, you're too early. The anniversary is not until September the 8th. And I went, oh, okay, hey, we're gonna do a year-long celebration. There's gonna be Star Trek stuff that's happening. At some point, Charles, I think it would actually be cool. I know I don't ever want to go back and do a recap episode by episode, but I would love to write a piece and go back and rewatch every one of the individual shows and then write sort of a think piece around each show, like the original series, like I said, Deep Space Nine, Voyager. Like I would love to do something like that during the year because, we always talk about their like Michael Jackson fans and their Prince fans, right? There's Star Wars fans and there's Star Trek fans. I didn't realize that I was a Star Trek fan until the end of season one, where they were, their the final moments of the first episode, I mean, the final episode, Charles, of season one, where they said, hey, we have a distress call from the Enterprise. Hey, beam in Captain Pike. And then they played the music. Ooh, I was like, oh my God, I love this show. So, yeah, man. So, man, I'm telling you, I think I haven't finished it yet, but Discovery has so many different touch points to, we find out and we hang out with Spock all season two and Captain Pike. In season three, of course, Sonequa Martin Green, it starts off. It's funny because Charles, they really wanted her to be the captain or to lead them early on in the season. She's like, no, I'm good. We got what's his name? Saru? You let
Yeah.
Saru can go ahead on and do it. And even Saru was looking at her like, because they had a conversation. Remember this, Charles? He's like, you gave up a little too easy. She was like, no, you got it. And of course, later on, and that reveal when she finally gets the chair, Charles, that's a great scene, man. That is a great scene, man. So for people at home who may be conflicted about this, it's a really good show, man. And to Charles's point, Sonequa Martin Green, who plays Michael Burnham, and I told my significant other, I said, I never thought I'd be hooked on a woman named Michael. Like that is the finest Michael I've ever seen.
Right.
She is amazing, man. So yes, so Star Trek, Starfleet Academy is debuting over this weekend. The first two recaps are out. So you have an opportunity if you go over to the FilmGordon.com. If you love Idris Elba, Charles Kirkland Jr. will be following Hijack all season. Also coming up, we'll be recapping. I will do Bridgerton since Charles just said on air he's never seen it. Charles Kirkland also is going to be recapping Wonder Man, the new series on Disney Plus coming up toward the end of the month. And also, I will be recapping Shrinking, which features one of my favorite supporting performances of the year by Miss Jessica Williams. Have you ever watched Shrinking?
No. No. I've been tempted to watch it, and I've had an opportunity to watch it, but haven't gotten there.
Yeah, we're having some fun, man. So we got a lot of stuff going on, man, with that, man. So anything you want to add in here, man? Because I went through this pretty quickly, man.
Well, you mentioned it, but I got my Wonder Man access this week.
Did you?
So they gave me all of the episodes of Wonder Man. And I
So
also
watch them
found
all,
out
man.
uh, I also found out that they're going to drop all of the episodes on January 27th. So the whole series will drop at the same time.
So you got two options, man, from an editorial standpoint, Charles, and I think you know which one. If you ask me, I'm gonna tell you which one I think you should do since you got 2 weeks to do it. You know where I'm going with this, right?
Maybe.
Man, if you got enough time to single episode or single recap it out, recap it instead of reviewing it. Because normally, as a rule, we always talk about if there's something that's coming out all on the same day, you just review it. But I do think it would be cool if you got something that far in advance. You just recap it.
Well, I mean, but the problem with it is I could do the recaps, but are people really gonna watch just one episode, or are they gonna try to see them all at the same time?
Well,
Just binge
I
it.
think of it this way. I mean, and this is funny that we're having this kind of like an editorial conversation on the podcast. The thinking is that if you give people individual, if you give our audience individual episodes, it will pique their interest because they'll want to check in. Because even if they watch it, sometimes when you're watching something in succession, sometimes you kind of miss something or something's like, And I think that can help clarify it. So, I don't, and the only reason why I'm saying it in this case for one demand, right? Is that you have the access so early that it allows you to do that. And then you can just kind of space it out. And then I think it gives you some opportunities to do some stuff. So that's my suggestion.
Okay.
That's my suggestion. I mean, because in order to do a review of you said 6 episodes, so you'd be trying to like, yeah. I would recap the whole thing. So and again, the recapping world, as we found out, is a lot of fun because when you following these shows week to week, um, it's pretty special, man. I mean, and over the course of, I think we've started really recapping hard, Charles, what, within the last 3 months? Is that accurate?
I would say, yeah, maybe since September, maybe 4 months.
Because I know you did Chad Powers last fall. I did Reasonable Doubt, All's Fair, Landman, which is wrapping up this week. Have you do you watch Landman?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, I watched that one.
So let's talk a little bit about Landman. If you haven't been following the show, right? I mean, maybe all of this is like white noise for you, right? If you are following the show, you know it's the story of a the vice president of MTEX, right? I think he started off as the vice president. Am I correct? Yeah.
Yeah,
He's a
yeah.
vice president, right? And a landman, right? So a landman in the Permian Basin, which is where the show takes place in Texas, is a group of people who work and get the oil out the ground. I don't know how else to say it, right? We've learned their lives watching them drilling. They showed us in season one just how dangerous it can be because Michael Pena started off as a landman and him and his entire crew something happened with the oil and some fires sparked and blew up the entire crew in the very first episode.
There was a gas leak at
Thank
the
you.
on the oil site, and they want to un but one of the valves was stuck, and so
Right.
what the normal procedure is, you put a
Is
big
he hit
wrench
it
on it and
with
you
a
hit it with a hammer to
and when he
unstick
hit it,
it.
it sparked and went,
Kaboom!
yeah. So we learned early that these guys make great money, but man, that's a dangerous and this season there was an episode, Charles, where you remember where these guys were out boar hunting and rolled out and drove into an area where there was a gas leak. And
Yeah,
it was the type of gas that killed them. It wasn't like they got sick. They got sick and died on the spot.
they didn't get
So,
sick. They just fell out. They walked.
yeah,
Do.
yeah. So I'm saying, so I think, and one of the things that I love about Landman so much, right, is that a lot of times, Charles, you know this from watching a lot of television, we see these series sometimes where there are high stakes involved, but you don't ever see any of this really impact these characters. And I've seen at least two really good, man. I'm talking about minimum 2 episodes where you've seen the impact, like, whoa, yeah, this can go bad real quick. So I love that about the show. And then to have Billy Bob Thornton, who, for a lot of people, you might have seen him recently and been like, Billy Bob, you've seen him in some roles. I remember Billy Bob Thornton in the late 80s, early 90s when he did a movie called Carl Franklin's movie. Him, Cinda Williams, and God, what was the name of that movie, man? I can't and Michael Beach. It's so funny because
Michael
was
Beach? Wow.
Michael Beach, Billy Bob Thornton, and Cinda Williams. Hold on a second. I can't believe you don't know this one. Um, damn, I want to say the title, but I can't. Michael Beach
Just keep talking about it. I mean,
and Cinda Williams. There it is right there. What was the name of this movie? One False Move. How did I forget that? Carl Franklin.
oh yeah, 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 yeah,
One
yeah,
False
yeah, yeah,
Move.
yeah.
I remember watching Billy Bob Thornton in that, right? And when Billy Bob Thornton first started, he would play these really odd roles. Later on he goes and does Sling Blade, like, where just brilliant actor, right? And then, later on you see him do some goofy stuff on screen. He marries Angelina Jolie and then, what's the name?
What did
Remember
you say?
Billy Bob Thornton?
You said he marries Angelina Jolie?
Oh my God, man.
What
Why
did you
are we on the same
I'm
universe
trying
as
to I
Billy
thought that's
Bob
what you said,
Thornton?
but I'm like, you couldn't have said that. What did you say?
I did say that. He was married to Angelina Jolie. You don't remember this?
No, he was never married. That's his daughter.
John Voight is the father of Angelina
Oh, that's
Jolie.
right. Yeah,
What
you're
are
right.
you
I got him mixed
talking
up.
about, you loon?
Woo! Yeah, you're right.
He
You're
was
right.
married to this woman. And you know why I know he was married to her? Because there's a great story. Because you know how he hooked up with Angelina Jolie? Do you
No,
remember
I
this?
do not. I do not.
Billy Bob Thornton, wait for it, was engaged to Laura Dern, right?
Uh-huh.
Laura Dern was, because her parents, Laura Dern's parents were Bruce Dern
Bruce Stern.
and I forget what her mother's name was, right? When she was a kid, because John Voight and Bruce Dern were friends, right?
Right.
Laura Dern babysat Angelina Jolie when she was a kid, right? Later on, she's engaged to Billy Bob Thornton. Angelina Jolie and Billy Bob Thornton go do a movie together. He marries her while he was engaged to Laura Dern. And she didn't know. He came back home. I mean, it's not funny.
It is funny.
It's
It
no,
is funny.
it's not funny. It is ironic. It's not funny. But yeah, man, that was weird, man. And Hollywood is weird like that, right? And I'm not gonna go off on a tangent, man, but I'll just say another one that was really weird was when Brad Pitt was with Jennifer Aniston. And all of a sudden, again, Angelina Jolie, who I call the white Erica Badu, she put them eyes on you. I'm being Erica Badu. If you listen, I'm sorry, but the word on the street is that people don't even look Erica Badu in the eye because it's almost like did you see the video The Light? You remember that
Yes.
with Common?
Yes.
Did you see what Common was wearing?
Yeah.
If you stare at Erica Badu too long, you too could have on a knit kufi. Look, I said when I watch The Light now, I go, yeah, it was good, wasn't it, Common? But anyway, man, I digress, man. I apologize, man. But I couldn't believe you was like, that's his daughter. His daughter. You talking about John Boy's
Yeah,
daughter?
I was, well, he's old enough to be her father, but yeah, yeah,
uh,
you're right.
no,
I was,
Billy Bob Thornton has got skills, man. So getting back to Landman. So having said that, if you've been watching the show, one of the things that was teased all season is, of course, Monty, who was played by John Hamm, who dies at the end of season one, was the owner of MTEX, and he dies, and his widow, played by
Demi
uh,
Moore.
Demi Moore, thank you, named Cammy, takes over running the business. They find out, Charles, that the money's funny. My man was doing some shell game stuff, and there's this this rig that needs to be drilled offshore, but she needs money, right? The money is missing. Andy Garcia's character plays Galino, I think his name is. And
Yeah.
he leverages and gives her a loan for like 300, 400 million. She's all in, and I'm not even calling it an act of desperation. In something that they teased all season, she fires Tommy Nars, played by Billy Bob Thornton last week, right? Now, in addition to that, Sam Elliott is on in the second season. His chemistry with Billy Bob Thornton is fantastic. You got Ali Larter in the cast. You've got, as I said, Andy Garcia in the cast. It's a really well written show, right? I really like Landman a lot, and this episode coming up next week, Charles. I'm just going to start by speculating because people were like, "Well, that means that Billy Bob Thornton is out the show because it's already been renewed for season
Yeah.
3." I'm like, no, he's coming back in MTEX. I just don't know how he's going to come back. And one of the other things to look for is that we had a character death at the end of season 1. I'm not saying that, man. Somebody's got to go. Somebody's got to go. And Billy Bob Thornton can't be on this show if he's not associated with this business. I don't know how this is going to happen, but I'm anxious to see it play out this weekend. Charles Kirkland Jr., what are you thinking about how they're going to end season 2 of Landman?
Well, it would be nice to see him get back into MTech somehow, but his son is doing pretty well. He could combine forces with him and be I don't know. I don't know. But there's that little wrinkle in there that is played by your and that was pretty interesting because he showed up at the very beginning of the series and like Michael Pena did, and you're like, is Andy Garcia really going to be on the show? Because you never see him. But I think you see him one more time
Right.
after that. They kill off Michael Pena in the first episode. You're like, oh, that's why he didn't get any credits. but
No,
but Garcia comes back in the second season, and he's a force. There's something like you said, something's going to happen. Something's
something's
going
gonna
to
happen,
happen.
man. And they teased it last week when a couple of weeks ago when they talked about, hey man, you all leveraged in. Tommy told her, look, why don't you just retire, take the money, man, go on an island? I don't want to do that, right? And then you come to find out between Garcia and Billy Bob Thornton's characters, like, man, she leveraged to the hilt. If this thing goes left, she gonna be poor. But she didn't want Tommy because she looked at Tommy, who lost his own fortune because him and her husband were best friends. And then
Right.
he lost all his money and had to come and work for him. And there's a certain disdain that she looks at him like, hey, man, I don't want you to do that to me. So it's fascinating how they built this universe and this world. And I'm looking forward to how they're going to bring it home. And all I'll say to you, Charles, in closing on this, is that I hope this is a better season finale than the one that Tulsa King had like a month ago. I was very disappointed. You and I talked about, I was like, that's it?
That,
Like all these open storylines. I guess we're gonna address this next week, next season, right? You had one character that was a main character that gets hijacked in the middle of the season. They put him in a black ops site, and we never hear from him again. Nobody talks about him. Like you do know he's still locked away, right? So yeah,
yeah.
you got the son who is mad at his daddy, and the daddy gets smoked, and the son is like, "Hmm?" So I just thought that there was a loss of focus for Tulsa King, and I'm hoping because Landman going up into this episode, there were a lot of people that have been complaining online, Charles, about the drama between Angela and Ainsley, the daughter and the mother and daughter, and how the show is softened considerably because with the TL character played by Sam Elliott, who's the father of Tommy Nars, played by Billy Bob Thornton. There's been a lot of thinking about mortality and a lot of reflection. So a lot of people miss the action that season 1 had. So I don't know, Charles. I mean, I like the season. I understand the complaints because the tone is softened and a lot of is a little different. Works for me. What about you?
I think we've got a lot of character development going on in this season, which I think was necessary. One of the characters is in love with Tommy's son. I can't think of any names right now, and
Oh,
she goes
Ariana.
out to yeah, she goes out to dinner with the family, and she's beefing with the boy, and she comes back and she goes, "Oh, I think I understand you now. You got some issues.
That
You
was a
got
good
some deep
episode.
issues."
That was a good episode, man. And then,
But
of
yeah, I
course,
think that's what this whole season has been about, is really getting deeper into the characters that we've seen and finding their motivations and why they are the way they are.
all right, man. We teased something at the top of the show, and I completely forgot. And I apologize if you will be listening for it. We did talk about the Golden Globes were Sunday, and I'm just going to be short and sweet to the point. Um, Tiana Taylor won, which was expected. What wasn't expected was that, and well, it's expected, Charles, in one way because we're talking about the Hollywood Foreign Press, right? And Sinners wins some made up award, right? That they just created a couple of years ago called
Best
Cinematic
cinematic
Box Office something,
performance. Yeah.
right?
So yeah.
Now, even with this, Charles, I have an issue because if you really were awarding Best Cinematic Box Office Film of the Year, Avatar, Fire, and Ash should have won instead of Sinners because that movie made $1 billion. Sinners made about three, almost 400 million, right? I think you give Sinners that award if you're the Hollywood Foreign Press because you know you're not going to give it the award that it should win, which is Best Film Drama, right? You gave uh, Paul Thomas Anderson's film one battle after another, Best Film Comedy, music, right? Comedy, whatever that category is,
Right.
right?
Right.
The other issue that I had was, and I shared this with Charles, right? As much as I love Hamlet, you guys heard me 3 months ago coming out of Toronto, best movie I saw at Toronto. So I have no issues or beefs with Hamlet. But what I will say, and I'm saying it as confidently 10 toes down as I can, I love Hamlet. Hamlet is a very good movie. Sinners is an instant classic. Point blank. Those two aren't even in the same atmosphere, right? Jessie Buckley, who's going to probably win the Oscar for Best Actress. She's fat. No, I'm just no. Let me finish. Jessie Buckley's going to win Best Actress. She's fantastic. I think she's the best actress I've seen all year. The story I think is fine. I've seen Hamlet 3 times now. Right, first time it really really worked, and it has diminishing returns after the first time because after you sort of know where it's going, it's the awe factor is sort of gone after the first one, right? I've seen Sinners 10 times, right? And we've talked about this publicly on the show 4 times in IMAX, man. You're looking at all the different nuances, the way it's shot, the cinematography, the production design, Ludwig Göransson's score, Jack O'Connell playing this vampire. It's an amazing film, right? So, what I expect to happen, Charles, because the Oscar nominations are coming out in 2 weeks, right? Or is it next week? Is Oscar nominations next week? I think it's
I think
like
it's 2 weeks.
20. Okay, so within the next week or two, Oscar nominations. I expect Sinners to get nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Score, Best Production Design, like all of the categories. I expect about 7 to 8 nominations for Sinners. I'm telling you now, if the vibe stays the way it is right now, Charles, it's going to win two. It's going to win screenplay and it's going to probably win score and nothing else. I don't expect it to win Best Picture. I don't expect it to win Best Director. I mean, so I'm not being critical. I want people at home to understand this. I'm not being critical of the process, right? I am just getting myself together so the level of outrage isn't there because as I shared with Charles, the Academy body voting body is 75 to 80% non-African American, right? Now, for a film like Sinners, why does that matter, Charles? It matters because Sinners, much like Black Panther before it by Ryan Coogler, are movies that speak specifically to what black people internalize, right? It's like stuff we feel. Like when I watch Sinners, the reason why I can watch Sinners 10 times and it never gets stale and old is because I feel the experience. That scene early in the film where Smoke and Stack first meet the guy who's selling them the slaughterhouse, right? And they're walking around and ain't no boys in here, right? You think about that scene at the door where where Jack O'Connell is talking to Smoke, and he's explaining that they're never gonna let you guys build. You know it. We trying to build community. So the fact that Ryan Coogler was able to add all these messages inside this movie that produced well, looks good, screenplay, ensemble type Sinners, which gets me back to Hamnet. Sinners is superior to Hamnet. But the voting, the voters from the Hollywood Foreign Press didn't see it that way. Sinners is superior to what beat it at the Critics' Choice Association, which is the body that Charles and I both vote. But once again, less than 100 people that look like Charles and I who vote. So it's, people who are not black can appreciate this movie. They can't feel it. And the feeling is the reason why Ryan Coogler, as I told Charles, is going to be the black Martin Scorsese. And you're like, well, what does that mean?
Mm,
Martin
mm.
Scorsese made arguably three of the greatest films ever made and didn't win for any of them. So if you're at home going, what is Tim talking about? Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, and Goodfellas. I told Charles, Goodfellas is so good. If you think about the entire genre of mob movies and you take Godfather away, Godfather, the whole franchise, one, two, the next best mob movie ever made is what? Goodfellas.
Goodfellas.
And
Yep.
what did Martin Scorsese finally win an Oscar for? And I'm not being funny because people are like, well, The Departed was a good movie. Yeah, The Departed was a good movie. The Departed to me wasn't even as good as The Age of Innocence. Like Martin Scorsese got throwaway
True.
movies better than The Departed. Just that not are even on the scale of
The
Taxi
film
Driver,
that
Raging Bull, and Goodfellas.
the film that The Departed was based on was better than The Departed. So I mean,
So
uh,
so I just want you at home because I'm getting a lot of calls from people. And Charles, you're getting them too, right? What happened? Sinners ain't win nothing. Man, you got to understand the internal politics of all of this stuff. You really do. And I mean, and this gets back to, and I want to really say this, and I am not being a homer. There's a reason, Charles, that the Black Reel Awards exist. And if you haven't heard the story, Tim Gordon, God gave me a vision and I started the Black Reel Awards. I'm not even going to say it was me because it was the inspiration is so crazy of how it started. I was following the Oscars in 1996. They had the Hollywood blackout. It was the year that they had 166 nominees. They had one black nominee, period, in 166 categories. It was an all white show, except for Tuesday Morning Ride that got nominated as a short at the Oscars, right? And I was at my house and I looked in the mirror and I said, man, somebody's got to do something about this. We need an award given out by black people that's film exclusive, like the Oscars and the Golden Globes, by black people for black people, right? This is before, like maybe I was inspired by FUBU. I don't know. But anyway, it happened. The Black Reel Awards came along, and our awards this year, which is now going into its 26th year, as the longest running film exclusive show, period. So people, well, what about the Image Awards? The Image Awards are giving out television awards, music, literature. Like when I say film exclusive, we are film, like we only exclusively do film with the bolts in the winter, and we exclusively do television, African American or black television in the summer, right? So, having said that, I had a conversation with one of the chairman of my foundation board, who is telling me what I'm telling you. He was like, This is why this is important because Sinners and other films made by black creatives are being dismissed at these award shows, do not let that diminish these films in your eyes, right? Because it's not getting validated by a certain group of people. Sinners is an amazing film, and it doesn't take an award that somebody gives it for Charles and I to understand that Sinners is pretty much the best film of the year, right? So that's what I think makes this whole exercise. Now, again, one more note, Charles, and I'm gonna turn this over to you. One Battle After Another finished number two on my list. I think Paul Thomas Anderson's film, Leonardo DiCaprio, Tiana Taylor, Regina Hall, Chase Infinity, the crew, I thought they did their thing. It's a really good film. And I'm not, and it's hard to judge art, right? And when I say I think it's the best film of the year, I'm basing it on my expertise in what I do. Much like Charles is a guy who's been 15 years plus doing this. So when somebody like Charles or Wilson Morales or Sean Edwards or other colleagues of mine state their preferences for film, all I can do is respect it, because if you put in the work and we know that you watching all the movies, then I respect your opinion if you're doing the job. So when I say I think Sinners and Hamnet aren't in the same stratosphere, I just go and look at it not just as what I like, but like directing, producing, production design, like cinematography. Hamnet is a really good movie. I'm not saying Hamnet is bad. I'm saying it's a really good movie. Sinners is just up here. That's all I'm saying. Charles Kirkland.
Well, when you first started, I was trying to get you to say it with your chest because you were kind of timid about it, saying that
I don't want to have too many
and
too many like
and it's to the point where I want to say Hamnet is not a good movie because they can't see what they see in Sinners. The movies just don't equate, and I don't I'm I it was the one time when I was really upset with the Golden Globes because everything else I kind of figured was going to happen. But when and to the point where I was like, oh well, see, they have it broken in. The one battle is in the comedy, and Sinners is in the drama. That way, they both win. I mean, that's the way I thought it was going to play. There was no way on God's green earth that I had ever considered that any other film would come up out of anywhere and be better than Sinners in that category. Now, when we get to the Oscars, the Sinners may pull in another, and that depends upon how the voting academy views Netflix, because K-pop Demon Hunters, that song Golden is just everywhere, and it could be the Oscar winner depending upon how the relationship has developed between Netflix and the Academy. They really didn't have much of a theater run for the film, so it may not win. I was surprised that it was even nominated. But I Lied to You is a better song as far as the importance to the movie. And that's always the way I look at it when I'm looking at the
mm,
best song. The importance of the song to the movie is what makes a song great. And so if you can put a great song together with a great film and has purpose and meaning to it, it makes it a better than a song that plays like during the end credits. And that's not what Golden is, but it's not one of those songs that in my opinion, has more impact in the film than I Lied to You does.
well,
But again, the problem is Golden in this category is usually a popularity category, and that is a much more popular song. Golden is a much more popular song than I Lied to You. So
let me do
we'll
this,
see
man.
it. We'll see what.
No, I was
Like
gonna
you said,
say, I
thank
was gonna
goodness
say.
for the Black Reel Awards because otherwise, uh, who's going to espouse the greatness of black cinema? Because it's not going to happen anywhere else.
So let me say this, man, and we're not gonna tackle it today because I think I'm a little torn on this, right? And one of the things that I've really been exploring, right? Because we have colleagues of ours, and you know who I'm talking about. I'm not gonna throw them under the bus, who use phrases like I'm an Oscarologist. And I'm like, word. I don't call myself an Oscarologist, but I did make my bones, Charles, and you know this, studying black cinema and studying the Oscars because a lot of what we've done has been based on the Academy. But I have a theory, and I'm going to write about it extensively leading up to the Oscars about the sort of how the psychology of Oscar and how they see black and brown people, right? Like the roles that we win Oscars for versus the roles that other people win for, right? And I'll just tease it a little bit because I was having a conversation that I was a little disturbed on Sunday night for one thing, right? I saw Tiana Taylor win, and I understand that you're happy to win and be acknowledged by your industry, but this crying, these tears of joy, like I saw her doing it. I remember Halle Berry. I remember Cuba Gooding Jr. like a coon dancing around the Oscar stage. There's a psychology on the why black people, and I'm not talking about because Denzel's never done it, right? Like Denzel goes up there, gets his award, he has his acceptance speech, but there's a certain something that I can't put in the words that's disturbing for me as a black person, not a black man, but as a black person watching black people in a room of their peers, largely white, who will get up on stage and win, and they like, oh my God, and I'm like, relax, man. It's an award. It's not. You didn't win the lifetime achievement. You understand what I'm saying, Charles? Does any of this make
I,
any sense?
I hear what you're saying, but there has to be a level of contriteness that you express for otherwise you get blackballed. If you go up there and you say, well, I deserve this award because I
Well, no,
think
no,
I'm
I'm not
a,
even
and you don't,
saying that, Charles. I'm
but
saying, I'm saying you can be like everybody else and just go up there and go, "Oh, wow, this is kind of nice, man." But I don't ever like if you go back, like maybe Sally Field. I can go back when her famous, "Oh, you like me, you really like me."
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I need to go back and do some research because I'm telling you, I've seen at least 3 or 4 occasions where as a person, and including the infamous "It's hard out there for a pimp," which I mean, the fact that that won the Academy Award for Best Song that year speaks to how we are viewed among industry. I mean, and so again, just a tease, but this is a piece that's coming, man. And I know people are gonna be mad at me, but hey, I done put in some time, man. Like, what are you gonna do to me, man? You cancel me. I'm 34, 35 years in. I'm like, cool. I put in my time. But yeah, Charles, that sort of stuff bothered me. And it bothered me on Sunday watching that. And people will go, well, Tim, you tripping, man. Tiana Taylor, she's always like that, and she's emotional. And so is Halle, and so is Cuba. I mean, I want Tom Cruise to get up on stage and win an Oscar, man, and dance around like he in Tropic Thunder. I want to see, I want to see some other people in other communities be so happy to win that they just act out and they not black. So I'm gonna go, yeah, that's cool. That works.
You mean like Roberto Benigni did when he won and he ran all
Yeah,
over
but
the place
again,
and
doesn't live here. You excuse that because he doesn't live here. Right, you bouncing on some chairs. I mean, so there's a certain level of joy, but I think the some people, man, are able to contain it more than others, man. So I think we're running out of time. Dead Man's Wire, we didn't get a chance to hit it. If you want to read our review, you just go over to the FilmGordon.com. There's this guy that I respect named Charles Kirkland Jr. who is putting it down. Charles Kirkland Jr. came to me. Oh, is he listening? Oh, hey, it's Charles right there. Charles came to me and was like, man, I was checking bylines last year, and there was a lot of Tim Gordon and not enough Charles Kirkland Jr. And we're gonna balance that out in the 2-6. He is doing this thing. I am proud of this brother. Charles Kirkland Jr., take us home, man.
take Take us home. What you want me to do? You want me to talk about Dead Man's Wire? No,
No, I
we're
would
not
say
going to do
take
that.
us home, man. We out of time, man. You know, like normally I would say I'm trying to prep you. Look, as we tell you every week on the show, right?
See
Please
something
see
good.
something good at the movies. Charles Kirkland, take us home, baby.
As we tell you every week, Dead Man's Wire, pretty good film. See something good in the movies this week, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for coming out. My love to you. Holler out for Tim Gordon, the man behind the everything that is Black Reel, Light Reel, all of it. I appreciate you, brother, for having me on the show again. I ain't getting much love as I usually do, but I appreciate being able to close us out. So we'll see you next time. I'm peace.
Peace.